It was too easy to wind up regular humans about these kinds of things. For now, at least. With a relieved sigh, he grabbed my shoulders and began to shake me hard, his eyes almost wild. "Thank you so much. You've saved my life. I could have died from this horrible, evil creature. How can I ever repay you, Zoe?" "Just give me the other half of the payment," I said, as matter-of-factly as I could. $100 and we're done here. Again, guilt threatened to break through my steely resolve. Even though I'd been doing this for the past year, I'd never felt 100% comfortable with my con. It was unethical as hell, to say the least. And my grandmother would lose her shit if she knew this was how I put food on the table and kept the roof over her head. But a girl's gotta do what she can to survive. And I needed the money. We needed the money. After collecting the final $100, I left the man to pick up the trashed pieces of his morgue and stepped out into the cool Boston night through a back door leading into the alley behind the hospital. I tripped when my feet hit shadowy debris, and my hand flung out to steady myself against the rough brick wall. My nose wrinkled. The stench out here was almost overpowering. Mildew and wet cardboard sliced through with the rotting stench of the Chinese leftovers oozing from the dumpster. Part of me wanted to turn back around and go out the front doors of the hospital, but I didn't want anyone to see me coming and going, just in case a warlock or another witch got suspicious and figured out no demons had actually been here tonight. Even though magical trickery wasn't against my coven's laws, it was definitely frowned upon, and I couldn't afford to get on their radar right now. With a satisfied smile, I flicked through the $20 bills and slid them into my pocket. The night was young, the crescent moon still inching above the towering buildings, and I had more than enough time to get started on another job. All I had to do was find another poor schmuck who thought he was being haunted by a ghost or tormented by a demon. In this city, that wasn't too difficult to find, especially if you frequented the right bars. As I leaned against the grimy brick wall in the alley, the loud crunch of boots on glass sent every hair on my arms on end. In a flash, my dagger was in my hands, and my knees bent into fight stance mode. My heart thrust forward like a rocket in my chest as I blinked hard into the dark alley. Even though I was more than confident when facing fake demons, the idea of standing off against a real attacker, a human one, sent a buttload of fear through my veins. "You know, you really shouldn't be doing what it is you're doing." A man shifted out of the darkness, dressed in all black and hiding his features with the shadows permeating the alley. From what I could see, he was tall and commanding, with a body corded with some serious muscle. And even though his strong jaw was lined with dark stubble, the lack of lines around his eyes suggested he wasn't too much older than me, 24 or 25 maybe. "Who are you?" I gripped my dagger tighter and danced a step back like I was trained in hand-to-hand combat. But my feet slipped sideways in a sticky puddle of grime. So much for looking badass. "What are you doing here?" "No need to wave that around," he said, instead of answering my questions. "I'm not going to hurt you." That didn't relax me. If he were there to hurt me, he certainly wouldn't go around announcing it, at least not while I had my dagger out and ready to go. Though there was something familiar about him. The way the shadows clung to his tall frame, the way he shifted through the alley with a grace I rarely saw. In fact, I realized I knew exactly who he was. Well, kind of. I'd seen him a few times these past several months, though this was the first time he'd made direct contact. There was the time he passed me in the granary burying ground while I was on my way to banish a demon from a grave. And then there was the time when he ordered a drink next to me at the goth club, Descent, while I'd been scoping out potential clients to con. He'd also dropped into the bar where I worked a few times. I'd figured he was a local, someone who lived in the same patch of city blocks that I did. Until now, I'd thought these random crossings were...